Thanks, Doug. We should have maybe 10 minutes of discussion for this group. Does anyone have questions for Alan, Melissa, or Doug? Yes?
Rick Rosser, Dalhousie University. I want to first thank all of you three presenters. The information you delivered was wonderful. The rapid presentation was wonderful, and your manner of presenting something to be commended. So I thank you for that. Similarity in some of your discussions about how to affect change. And you know, we typically take multi-method approach, top-down and bottom-up. You talked about policy towards men, and two of you specifically. You know, landscape architects are going to have many paths to how they affect change. And wondering if you could talk about the efficacy of the top-down approach, and maybe how you think other landscape architects can add to that.
Do you want to stand up?
I don't know if it's not simply a top-down approach. I would argue that that rarely is going to work. Top-down, as I said the other day, like top-down approach is good for the guy taking out your appendix. You know, maybe you should just cut a little to the left. I'm not in a position to inform that, but pretty well everything else you have to have buy-in. The broader scale that you work at, the more political it becomes. The stakes are higher, and it's really, really political. It goes up, the regional plans that we did for Southern Alberta, that went to the Premier, right? And they stopped, the last government has stopped what would, for instance, what would have been probably the most important move in my accomplishment of my career, which would have been setting aside the Wild Horse Plains, mostly public land, largest contiguous protected grassland in the world, in southeastern Alberta. I don't think it's not gone. It's not going anywhere. It's not one of the reasons that we couldn't do it was because there's nothing there. There's never any gas. But that became political because a couple of farmers who known not in my backyard. They didn't own the land, but you know they grazed on it or whatever, and somebody listened to them. And they went out and did a public engagement of sorts, which is a dog and pony show, humped around to different towns. You got a few squawkers and called that data. You know, not a survey, not a real data. So that you have to, at that point, I guess you have to get to the guy at the top and convince him why it's in everybody's best interest. We weren't able to do that, I guess, because we're somewhat screened from that level of politics. But having said that, then you get into, you know, what you're going to do at park or you know, something along the river somewhere, and you're not going to include the people that live next to it. They're not always right, and they almost then often won't be. It may not be your opinion that they share, but I don't know. I don't think it's either or. Really, it's a bit of an art. You have to be able to communicate. And you have to be authentic. And I think that's what, you know, like Jim was saying this morning, like you've got to believe that you're telling them the truth, that you mean it. If you're just coming at them, then it depends, you know. I don't know, I can't say it's one or the other, but I do believe in of course, in public engagement, collaboration, but in some cases I'd rather not, because it gets unpleasant. But
Any other questions for any of these guys?
I just wanted to comment on that. In one of your slides early on, you referred to an iterative approach, and I think that's where the capture between bottom up and top down occurs. And it's the interaction of thinking at the site scale and at the regional scale and matching those two. That's what we do.
yeah,
And I think that's really kind of a core part of the profession is being able to match those two and the interplay between them. and understanding the large-scale political dynamic and the site-scale personal dynamic of a problem and the interaction between those two. And I think that's the collaboration that's necessary and the public outreach and the education and the communication.
Yeah.
And all of those skill sets is where that occurs.
No, I would agree. I mean, being able to understand the implications of public policy on fine-scale initiatives and the aggregation of fine-scale development on an overall region, and then being able to communicate that to people so that they know why they should, well, yeah, it looks like I should be able to build right here, but it just happens to be in a critical corridor or something. I would agree with Charlie.
There's a kind of parallel with that in terms of the awards that I think over the years we've kind of noticed that the projects that get awards are for people who know what they're doing, demonstrate it well, and do it elegantly. And it's fundamentally comes down to people knowing what they're doing and being able to communicate it.
Catherine, did you
comment on this on your talk about policy and affecting policy? One thing that I think we can do is affect policy. We can do it through our projects, but we shouldn't discount doing stuff as volunteers that can communicate. And I think that we can, with our expertise as landscape architects, we can make a big difference in our communities that way.
Absolutely. Any other questions for this group? Thank you three very much.